What's up, everybody? I'm Taylor. I'm powerless over life, but not my reaction to life. I created this YouTube channel to share from my heart, my experience, strength, and hope, to share with everyone what I've taught myself through research, what I've learned with just general life experience, and what I've learned since I've been in 12-step programs for about 2 years now. I've been sober since 2020, and this video is about how hard I had to put in a lot more inner work in the beginning of recovery. I had to look at recovery and healing the way I looked at addiction, all or nothing. I had to turn that same amount of willingness I had towards my addiction and the willingness I had to sit with my pain and live in my past every second of every day. I had to turn that willingness into action, and I had to turn my pain into motivation. I found that by using tools that 12-step programs had to offer. You know, it's like I needed a roadmap of where I was going and how to get there, and that's what 12-step programs did for me. It gave me a solution. And see, I look at everything I learned from different resources, books, videos, different 12-step programs. They have over 100 12-step programs. I look at these as tools. How can I apply it in my life? What areas can I improve with these tools? Like, how is this going to benefit my growth? And something I've done is look at pain differently. Before, I used to fear pain. I used to run from pain, avoid it, numb out. I was used to doing that for over 15 years. And when I got sober, I spent several years just wallowing and sitting in my pain because I didn't have the tools I needed to cope and manage pain in a healthy way. You know, 12-step programs gave me the ability to face my pain. It's taught me to not bury things or push things down, to address issues as soon as they arise, because my brain will give me 1,000 reasons why this is just so scary to face. My brain will want to run, avoid it. And it's because our brain is meant to keep us alive. And when we feel pain, we feel threatened. Sometimes we can go into flight or fight. For me, anger was my main coping mechanism. I would turn my rage and my anger onto everything and everybody. I would blame everybody for my unhappiness. And I grew up in a family that criticized, blamed, shamed. They were not loving. They were not nurturing. They were definitely not emotionally available for me. You know, I realize, and people do the best they can with what they know. But for me, you know, I think that people are just comfortable with sitting in their pain, that they don't want to take action to do better because that's what's familiar. So people do what's familiar, and uncomfortable things aren't familiar, and the brain wants to run from new things. So when we get sober and we're trying to change, our brain's like, I don't want to do this. This is too hard. This is too painful. And so when I started really learning about the brain and mental health, addiction, dysfunction, trauma, all of those things I've studied to help me understand myself and also people that have come and went out of my life. You know, it's like people say knowledge is power, but I say knowledge is nothing without action. And before I came into 12-step programs, it didn't matter how many books I read, how many YouTube videos I watched. I couldn't figure out how to apply what I was learning, to areas of my life. I was just like, yes, I was learning all this stuff, but I was seriously miserable. So 12-step programs helped me. It gave me a roadmap. And I talk a lot about perspective and attitude. And when I changed my perspective about the things I had been through, who I had become, when I changed my perspective about pain, what can I learn from pain? How can I grow? How can this help me heal? You know, two people can walk outside and one perspective of the first person is, I hate the rain, right? And then the next person walks outside and they're like, oh, this is going to be a beautiful day. Well, guess what? The person who was being negative is going to have a shitty day, right? So if I wake up in the morning and I tell myself today's going to be a shitty day, I'm setting myself up for failure, because words are powerful and it matters how we talk to ourselves. It mattered for me. You know, I would always criticize myself, blame myself, shame myself. I was full of resentment. Like, I hated myself. And I had to learn how to be my own motivator, my own teacher, advocate, brother, sister, whatever, my own loving parent. I had to give myself credit, and I had to accept myself for who I had become and the things I had done to hurt other people. And that's why 12-step programs are a very important part of my past and me using the tools, because it gave me steps 1 through 12. Just do them in order, you know, and do them thoroughly and honestly. You know, the thing is, and that's why I created this channel with the intent to share about how much 12-step programs have changed me, because I would not be where I'm at without 12-step programs. And it's not that I'm a 12-step program junkie. I'm not. I use it as a tool. I use it to apply in every area of my life. But the most important thing for me in recovery is learning how to connect and show up for myself on an emotional and spiritual level. And something that's helped me tremendously is by positive self-talk. My version of prayer is positive self-talk. Talking to the universe as it is my best friend, out loud. Talking out loud to myself in silence or in isolation has helped me grow and overcome so many obstacles. It's just unbelievable. I really had to re-examine the relationship I had with myself and to whatever power is greater than ourselves that is out there. I call it the life power, the universe. And so until I could really surrender to that and truly heal from my past, I couldn't surrender to that higher power until I truly healed from my past. And so I meditate 3 times a day. I go outside throughout the day, and my version of meditating is just being in silence with myself, with allowing my thoughts to come and go, without judging them, criticizing, or blaming myself for things, hurtful memories. And something I like to do is I like to tell my brain when it brings up something from my past that's painful, I tell my brain, thank you for reminding me about that, but we have healed from that. Thank you for keeping me safe. And so by me talking to myself, you know, and just thanking my brain instead of dreading and being upset that thought came up, it's perspective. How am I going to look at this thought? How am I going to deal with it? And how can I apply this to my future or my present moment? What can I learn from this? In every situation, negative and positive, I'm asking myself, what can I learn from this and how can I grow? How can this make me a better version of myself? How can this painful emotion help me with the relationship with myself and relationship with others? So somehow in recovery, I have learned to turn my pain into motivation, because that's the only option for me. If I don't work these steps, if I don't maintain my emotional sobriety, my spiritual connection to self and to a power greater than myself, and maintain my physical health, if I'm not working on one of these and I'm not balancing them, I'm not going to be happy. I'm going to be unbalanced. I'm going to be aggravated. I'm going to make the people around me miserable. And so I have enough recovery to know if I was to stop doing the things I do on a daily basis, it's not alcohol I'm worried about. It's mental health problems I'm worried about. Alcohol was no longer the problem. It was the things under the addiction, the trauma, the pain, the dysfunction, the resentment, the shame. All those things contributed to why my mental health declined. A person can only mask for so long until our brain just becomes overloaded. And that's why we go into depression. That's why we have anxiety. That's why we have an inner critic. All these things happen to us as adults, and that's why it hits us in our adulthood. So I had to really address my past, and 12-step programs helped me do that. But most importantly, I had to learn to connect to myself, to be kind, respectful, and gentle, to not beat myself up, to be my own motivator, my own best friend. Yes, people are great to have for support, and I have a solid support system. But at the end of the day, I came in this world by myself, and I'm gonna die by myself. And so every day I have to maintain my emotional sobriety. So if this channel's for you, keep watching, and I hope you find the healing and peace within yourself.